Hey everybody, it's Spencer here, host of Constructive Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering. Today is Wednesday Night Warrior. It's a weekly video series where I talk about different things in Magic. Today is part of our How to Improve at Magic series where I talk about something that might make you a little bit better at the game. And today we're going to talk about learning to play the best deck. So, learning to play the best deck is a pretty big part of making jumps. Specifically at maybe the PPTQ level. And so what we're going to talk about today is why it's important. And I want to start with something that's I think else is important, and that's that people love to brew. And brewing is it has to be one of the best parts of Magic. You have it's like you have this huge puzzle that you get to build however you want to build it. I love to brew. I think most people like it. It's one of the things that makes Magic so great is that you get to come up with an idea and you get to watch that idea come to fruition. And I think that's really big. It's really something that's great for a lot of players to get to see their ideas come to light and win with those ideas. And this video isn't about telling you not to brew, because brewing is how the best deck is created. So never be afraid to brew. But what we're going to talk about is why learning to play what is now the best deck is important. And just remember that going into this standard format, and always keep the things that we're going to talk about in mind. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is knowing how and why your opponent is winning and why they're going to win any given match. And learning to play the best deck can do that a lot of the times, because if you learn to play the best decks, you learn their interactions, and then when you're brewing, you can learn how to attack them from there. It's definitely something that I think is undervalued, is learning to play mirror matches, learning to do different things inside of that match of Magic that are going to be percentage points that add up in a large percentage of wins for you. And I think that knowing how a deck plays and what their turn sequences look like is a huge part of that. So learning to play the best deck by just playtesting with it can be a huge part of your game and really help you in a lot of different matchups. Specifically when you're playing against that deck, or when you're building decks, when you're thinking what could I put in this deck? Learning technology from other decks is going to be a huge part of it. So play those decks. Don't ignore something great just to be different. For example, I ended up playing Caw-Blade at the end of Caw-Blade Standard, because if I didn't want to, I would have had to play something like Blue Manji or Big Red, or something kind of ridiculous to even try and compete in that sector. And for a long time my win percentage against Caw-Blade was really high, because I would play things like Quest for the Holy Relic, and that's great, being different and getting wins because you found this hole where everyone's playing Caw-Blade, so I'm going to play Quest and just get under their mana leaks and completely stop them. But once Batter Skull was printed, things like that didn't work, and I had to go to the drawing board and say well, what can I do to attack this deck? And sometimes there's not a lot you can do. Sometimes it might be best just to play that deck, and that's okay. Think about Black Devotion. A lot of you might have played during the Black Devotion standard, and there was great decks. There was Control, Black Devotion, Green Red Devotion, Blue Devotion. So there was 4 decks. So maybe there weren't a lot of great decks, but there were tournaments where I was Black Devotion is just the best choice this week. I don't see a reason not to play it, and so I ended up playing it, and that's okay. The reason that it's okay is because being different isn't a reason not to play a deck. So you can definitely have reasons that you don't want to play the best deck, but just not playing the best deck because it's the best deck, that's not really a reason. That's you just trying to be different, and being different's okay, but it's certainly not going to help you improve at Magic the Gathering, which is your goal if you're watching this video. So have a reason. You have to be self-aware of about your deck choice. And be honest about you have to look inward and say, why am I playing this deck? And at the end of the day, if it's not a good answer, you probably shouldn't be playing it. If the answer is, I don't want to play the best deck because I want to be different, it's not a good enough answer. If your reason is because I think this deck beats the best deck and has a pretty good matchup overall, and I expected a lot of this, and this, that's a good reason. But just saying, I'm doing this because I want to be different or because I hate X or Y. It's not a good reason. And I hated playing Black Devotion. I still ended up playing it 2 tournaments because I hated it wasn't a good enough reason. It just wasn't. Like, all the crap I give Grey Merchant of Asphodel still doesn't add up to me being supposed to not play that deck. So remember that going into your event. It's not worth fighting with yourself, because you're just lying to yourself and you're losing percentage points because of it. At the end of the day, you also have to remember that it's still just a game. So it's a game where just because you should learn more and learn to play the best deck doesn't mean at the end of the day, well, this is the best deck, so I have to play it. Like I said, there's reasons to not play decks. Whether that reason is because of, because you think this deck is suited well for this tournament, because of X, Y, or Z. Think about like what just recently happened. If you're a fan of the podcast, you know that Casey just qualified for the Pro Tour using my ramp deck that I played at Portland. And then you have me who, won like a 2K event with a deck, and Spencer Band Company was the best deck in the format. Why didn't you play Band Company? Well, because this ramp deck that we had come up with was good in this like area that we expected. It was very good against Temur Emerge. It was good against Bant. It was good against Black-Green Devotion. And it was decent against things like Thermo Alchemist. So of those decks that we expected to be a high percentage against of in the metagame, we decided that we were okay to pull the trigger and play this ramp deck. That can happen in a lot of different ways. Like, if you look at, for example, like I played the best deck at Pro Tour Origins, the best deck going into the event. I played Green Red Devotion. It was a terrible deck choice. There were, these blue-red artifact decks that made 5/5s on turn 2 that you just couldn't stop. There was a lot more Abzan aggro, this deck that was a very bad matchup for you. We expected not a lot of Abzan aggro. We expected other things to hate it out, and there was Abzan aggro. There was blue-white devotion, or blue-white heroic, even though that deck hadn't done anything in a while. And, the green-red devotion players, yeah, there was green-red devotion in the top 8 of that Pro Tour, but there was a lot of hate for it. There was the Jeskai Ascendancy combo deck. And I played that deck like, it's my first Pro Tour, I'm just going to play the best deck going into it. Even though I had other decks, I had a blue-black control deck that would have been very good at the Pro Tour, that was playing what is the land called? Worst video ever, right? The storage land from Origins. We had that in our blue-black deck pretty early. It actually ended up not doing anything at that Pro Tour, but it did well at the next Pro Tour. But we had that technology already, and that's probably the deck that I should have ended up playing. But I was like, yeah, I've already done stuff with Green Red Devotion. I'm gonna play that, and that was just the wrong choice. It was the best deck going into the event, but other people had metagamed for that event and were ready for it, and that's what can sometimes happen when you are playing the best deck. So have reasons, be self-aware. There's so many things that can happen, but learning to play the deck, so learning how Green Red Devotion wins is how those people attacked the metagame and learned how to beat it, right? And the same thing can be true about, different decks. Think about how much you might hate playing aggro decks. You should probably still play some games with aggro decks, because at the end of the day, if you know what aggro's turn sequences look like as you're playing against aggro, you'll better know how to sequence your turns to beat it, and that's going to be a huge game. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, as well as check us out on constructivecriticism.com. These videos are now all on puremtgo.com and mtgotraders.com. So don't forget to buy your cards there if you're looking for your Moto needs. And we'll see you guys all next time. Bye.